right, next up we have The Last Showgirl from Roadside Attractions, directed by Gia Coppola. At the Toronto premiere for this film, the audience were cheering for Pamela Anderson during the screening. It's that impressive and inspiring. Pamela plays Shelley, a Vegas showgirl whose long-running show has closed. And she has to face what's left for her without the dancing job she loves so much. Jamie Lee Curtis plays her cocktail waitress friend, Annette. Dave Bautista is the show manager. Kiernan Shipka and Brenda Song play fellow showgirls. Now, please welcome to the stage director Gia Coppola and Pamela Anderson. Before we start talking about the film, let's roll a clip.
You know, you should have told me 100 years ago to quit this stupid bullshit! What? God, you saw it happening. You saw me losing Hannah. You didn't even say anything. You were there! What? No, yes. Look, we didn't know what was going on. Look, we didn't know what was going on with Jim. Yes, you did. You and Jody want me to be your mother, but I already have a daughter. I have one! No, Shell, look, we love you. We'll bring... I don't love you! I don't care! I don't care. Look what I have to show for the last 30 years of my life! I don't even get to keep a piece of my costume! Shell, where are you going? I don't know. And I don't have to tell you! No, you're the big promise if I can drive. Shell, you shouldn't be driving. I'm not going home!
So, you guys almost didn't meet each other. This almost didn't happen the way we see it. Because, Gia, you had seen Pamela's documentary, and you sent the script to Pamela's then agent. And then that agent passed on that script without telling Pamela. So, Gia, just tell us what happened next.
Well, I got turned down within an hour, so that's like record time, which meant, I mean, in a way it was a blessing because then I knew that she didn't read it and that I had to find an alternative route to get to her. And I saw that her son was an executive producer on the documentary, so I had to find, I just asked anyone and everyone, how can I meet Brandon? And he's very protective of his mother for right reasons. And I pitched the movie to him and he read it and he was like, great news, she loved the script, she wants to talk to you. And it was a really exciting call. I was so excited and nervous, and then she was so excited and selling herself to me, but I was like, but I'm selling myself to you, you have the role.
Pamela, you told me a little bit before about that conversation, that you just had this really strange discussion, as Gia said, where you're like, but I can do this. And she's like, yes, I know. But at the Toronto premiere, I remember you saying afterwards on the stage, I've been preparing for this role my entire life. What can you tell us about how you felt saying that in that moment and why you feel that way?
Well, I mean, I do feel like I couldn't have played this character if I didn't have the life that I've had and that I had to draw from. So I just thought, you know what? It was all worth it. If I can do something like this and be able to express myself in a piece like this, yeah, so that's what it felt like. It was such a relief to do a film and to be able to do a real film. I mean, this is the first script I ever read that was a good one, you know, that no one was giving me scripts like this. And so I just felt, you know, and also Gia was so decisive in her thinking and saying, no, I know you can do this, because I kept going, you know I can do this. And she goes, no, I know you can do this. This is why I've been looking for you. And this is I really believe that you're my Shelley. So I just poured everything I could into it because I thought, what if this is the only film I ever get to do? I've trained in the past, and I've took all that everything that I'd learned, and I put it into this film just as an experiment. So I'm glad it resonated, and I'm glad we trusted each other, and we worked really hard, and people are responding to it.
Gia, I believe I'm right in thinking that you had this kind of lifelong fascination with Vegas, and that you connected with Kate Gersten, who wrote the script, and she was working on this story of showgirls and was very immersed in a particular show in Vegas and had kind of spent time with the women. Tell us why you envisaged this as the subject of this film.
Well, during college, I went to college in upstate New York, and I would drive cross country to get to school, and I'd stop in Vegas and just be really fascinated with what day-to-day life must be like there. Who are the people that make this world of illusion come to life? In fact, what happened is my boyfriend at the time, he got pickpocketed, which led us to the sort of police canals of behind the casinos, and I saw like employee of the month, and I was like, wow, that's so interesting. And I loved like journalists like Dave Hickey and people and photos of Vegas. So that always really stayed with me. Just this very visually interesting city that felt so much of a metaphor for America in a lot of ways. And Kate also has a deep fascination for Vegas, and she wrote this play 10 years ago, observing the final years of the show Jubilee, and I was just really struck with the play because I was so interested to get to know what the world of Showgirls was. I wasn't familiar with it yet. It's this icon of Las Vegas. It's everywhere, and these shows were so beautiful, and the production value of these shows just don't exist anymore. And so much of the kind of underlining theme was how our culture just discards so effortlessly, and even the landscape in Las Vegas is the Tropicana is being demolished, and now the Sphere, and it's just so much of this analog versus the digital that I think all of us can relate to in whatever industry we're in. But then it also had this heart of a mother-daughter story, which I really related to because I was raised by a single mother, and then I also became a mother. So I relate to the story of the family that you create in your work environment. And so I just felt like it was a very beautiful story, and because it was a play, it allowed me to make a movie in an intimate way, which I was really craving to do, to make a movie like Cassavetes or and have my creative autonomy. I got to, we shot this 16 millimeter, and I yeah. And it was a mad dash. We made it in 18 days, and and again, because this was an intimate movie, I got to demand certain things, like I want just a little tiny clamshell monitor, and that's no playback, no Video Village or other monitors. It's just me.
It truly is a Gia Coppola film.
Pamela, I know you spent time with some showgirls. You had them over for tea. What did you learn that really helped you be Shelley?
Well, there's some obvious parallels between me and Shelley, but that was just the jumping off point. I really wanted to meet some of the dancers from the Jubilee. I had them over for tea. We talked about showgirls' do's and don'ts, and we did the showgirl walk. We just talked story, and really the pride and the joy of being a showgirl and how important that is and how different it is than, say, burlesque or anything else, and how Kate tells the story of when she went to the final days of Jubilee or the final months, and how there was 85 women on stage, 45 crew members, and 15 people in the audience, which is heartbreaking in itself. And I just wanted to explore who were holding up these rhinestones and these 50 to 60, 70 pound costumes and headdresses, that every woman is a movie. And I loved the backstage banter. I just came off of Broadway playing Roxy in Chicago, and I heard everybody backstage saying, what am I gonna have for dinner? What am I gonna make for dinner? Well, my boyfriend did this, my son did this, and I was just like, when's my cue? I haven't done this for 18 years. So and then they hear their cue, and boom, they're on stage, and they're right in it. And then they go off stage, and they start talking about dinner again, and start talking about, so-and-so did this, and it's just, so I was really struck by that. And so it was just really amazing to play that, to put that in to this role, which there's a choreography that goes even with these quick changes and taking off these headpieces and bangles and then gloves and then the top piece and then switch, quick changing and holding all these discussions and doing it multiple times in the same order. It was a very small, we were using the real backstage and we had to be out of there in a certain time because there was another show coming in. So we were just, it was challenging, I'm sure, for you. I was just trying to get my rhinestones together. But it was like doing a play, and it was choreography, which I really respond to musical theater. I love theater and musicals, and it was a musical element to this movie that helped carry it through, because we shot in 18 days, so we were shooting, multiple pages a day and multiple scenes. And you did such a great job in kind of doing my Jamie scenes first, and the Dave Bautista scenes second, and the girls scenes next, and then all of our scenes. It was just really well organized, and I was able to bond with each of those characters. I think, plus I didn't really have anything else to compare this to. I was just, dove in head first.
I love that. Pamela, you told me that in the script, there's a scene, and this was a scene that in the introduction to this panel, I talked about how at Toronto people cheered in the film. And the scene that led to that is you're standing on a stage, your show is closed, you're auditioning for Jason Schwartzman's character, a director, and he's sitting in the seats, you're in the spotlight. And he says, what you were selling was young and sexy, you aren't either anymore. And in the script, you were to say, I'm 50 and beautiful. And in that moment, you told me that you had decided, oh no, I'm going to say my real age. I'm 57 and beautiful, you son of a bitch. And everyone cheered.
I'll just say one thing. When he said, you were young and beautiful, in my mind I was saying, yeah, I'm more than that.
What I was really curious about as well is the conversation between the two of you about things like that, about in the moment you feeling that way and saying it. You're on a really tight schedule, and so there's so much trust because you just went ahead and were like, I'm going to lean into that. And you have the kind of flexibility to be like, I trust you to do what you feel is right in the moment. So that's like an amazing relationship that you two had. Did you talk about that decision afterwards?
I was just, after she said it, I was like, are you really 57? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, wow, you look amazing.
Another thing that I remember from the premiere is Jamie Lee Curtis crying. Because you had made everyone wait. You didn't let them see it until the premiere. So the cast come up on stage with you and everyone's just crying. Jamie Lee Curtis is saying, myself, I've been victimized by the industry discarding me at a certain point, or trying to discard me. And then Billie Lourd, who plays your daughter, was crying because the film had helped her understand her mother, which was extraordinary. Tell me what some of the best feedback both of you have had from people that have seen the film.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really amazing experience to watch it with the cast, and having that reaction was really fulfilling, and just having other people come up to us and say, I'm a working mom, and I hope my daughter will see this one day, or my child will see this one day, or but also for me, I mean, it's exciting when it inspires the next generation of filmmakers, and for them to feel like you can be a little film with a big message, and it's extra exciting for Pamela to get her long-deserved accolades.
Pamela, what would you say has been the impact of making this film on your life?
I feel like I can breathe now. I feel like I've been carrying this secret along since I was a little girl, I mean, when I don't know, I just felt like I needed to do this for my soul. I needed to do this. I wanted to know what I was made of. I'm still looking because I feel like I hope this is just the tip of the iceberg. I feel like I've just begun, and I'm still processing it all. But it's just been such an incredible experience to feel rooted for, and to have people feel what I feel, what we were portraying on screen. To have people come up and say, you know, I really wanted. I was so happy to see this with my mother, you know, because now I can have that. I had that conversation with her, and I think that's the beauty of doing these things and expressing yourself, because it's so relatable on so many different levels. I felt like I got to know myself too in this film, and I was, you know, thinking about all of the similarities, but just the challenges, and being able to really dive into those pieces of my life that were, you know, disappointments or whatever it was, and bring that to the character and kind of grow with the character. So it was cathartic in many ways, and also just great to be able to perform and to be able to, this is what I love to do, and so I'm so happy. Even though I love making pickles and jams in my garden, that can wait.
Well, congratulations. This is a wonderful film. Thank you so much for being here to talk about The Last Showgirl. Thank you.
Thank you so much.